Je ne pense pas que le président Gianni...
I don't think that President Gianni Infantino was wrong. I think all these things are happening because of the timing. There's an election coming up where Gianni Infantino is standing. All of this has happened because there's an election coming up. That's all there is.
We have the letter from UEFA, CONCACAF and the AFC from August the 10th saying trust is broken through deception when an individual places himself above the collective about duty being abandoned. I mean, is that not your assessment?
Écoutez, je ne veux pas faire des commentaires.
Listen, I don't want to make any comment on others' political positions, but I want to talk about actual fact.
But is this not at this moment an issue of whether or not the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, crossed the line and whether or not he is putting football first or putting himself first?
En quoi le président se met...
To what extent do you mean that the president is putting himself first? I need to understand what you mean by that. The president's job is to take football further, to make all of the nations grow. That's the role of the president of FIFA. And for each of the federations, their role is to develop football. I don't think at all President Infantino wanted to put himself forward. He made a proposal. The 211 members were supposed to sit down, debate the issue, and let the majority win. But I am convinced that the voices that were raised, those are not the voices of the majority.
But is the point here not the fact that this project was taken so far down the road that it wasn't up for discussion, it wasn't up for debate, and it wouldn't have been until it was almost too late?
Il fallait donc trouver du temps pour débattre.
There was a need for debate. I would agree with that. We should have talked about the question, talked about whether it's a good thing or not. President Gianni Infantino has changed football. He has given opportunities to nations that didn't have them to participate in the most beautiful of competitions, the World Cup. He has allowed certain nations that couldn't afford seats to afford seats. I salute the courage he had to withdraw this project, even though for me personally, this project is not bad. It is even very good for the African nations because it would allow us, should allow us, if it went all the way through, to truly compete with the big nations. The biggest nations occupy the media space. They gave their point of view, and while President Gianni Infantino wanted at all costs to keep the whole team, the whole big family of football together, he decided to withdraw the project. But personally, I said no. We must debate this project and let the majority take its responsibilities.
So just to reiterate, you would like to see the FIFA forward enterprise revisited as a model?
Il faut que ce soit la loi de la majorité.
It's about majority rule. I think it's important that we should bring all the federations together to debate together. I remain convinced that for us as Africans, this project was something that could have been incredible. It would have reset the balance of power in football to ensure that our talent doesn't disappear and end up playing for other nations. We want to see the Messis, we want to see the Mbappés, but I would like to see Mbappé play for Cameroon. He makes us proud, he makes us happy when we see him play football. But selfishly, as president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, I would like to be able to see some Mbappés grow here, because we have the means to be able to put everything to contribution so they can fully develop within our federations.
So your goal is to get this FIFA forward enterprise back on the agenda for a proper discussion.
L'administration étant écrite,
Our administration has its rules, and it will bring a motion before FIFA to have this project re-examined.
In short, do you think Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA, has crossed any lines with his conduct in recent weeks and months?
Moi, j'ai reçu une lettre en tant que président.
I received a letter as the president of the Cameroon Federation of Football. I received a letter from FIFA, and I think this was a first step that he needed to make, because the voting members are not the members of the FIFA Council. They are the presidents of the national federations. You got hung up on the media coverage organized to say that he didn't respect the ethics of football. No, he presented the project to the real bosses of football, the president of the national federations. In my view, he presented a project. There may have been a leak, but he had presented it to the true bosses, who are the presidents of the national federations. You can talk about members of the council, but at the end of the day, the people who vote are the presidents of the national federations. They make all the decisions they want in the council. If we decide it's not going to go through, it won't go through.
So what do you think the events of the last couple of weeks, months have done in terms of whether or not he will be re-elected?
Le président Gianni Infantino, il aura toujours mon soutien personnel.
I would say that President Gianni Infantino will continue to enjoy my support and the support of my federation. But beyond that, I would like to say that all of my colleagues, all the presidents of the African Federation, the 53 others, we have 54 votes, and we need to think about the interest of African football. We always left behind. But this has to change. I want to see all of my colleagues, all of the presidents rereading the project. And after President Infantino is re-elected, we will have the strength to ask for this project to be put back on the table for discussion.